Hey guys, Sun here from Sun Bros, and today I'll be bringing you another beginner's guide to Striker Kings as we continue our breakdown of hero classes. And today we're going to be covering warriors, and I'm excited about this one. It's a pretty heavy class. Now a lot of these guys are going to be doubled up. They're going to either be warrior assassins or warrior tanks, but we're still going to go over the entire group so that if you didn't watch the other videos and you just want to figure out who the best warriors in the game are and kind of get a feel for them all, we're going to break that down for you today so you guys can get that going on. So we're going to start with Samus. Samus is essentially the Yun Zhao, play Mobile Legends, of this Striker Kings game. He's got the spear, obviously. He's pretty cool. He comes with the game for free. He's one of the original guys you get, I think. No, you can get him somehow, though, for free. I don't remember how it is. But Samus, you got one skin. Pretty cool. Pretty nice looking skin. And we have a second skin here. That one's called Infinite Courage. Oh, we got the Casanova skin. That's a pretty cool skin too. Looks like he is big heavy attack damage. And let's go over. This is a warrior and a finisher. His passive is Dragoon. Each kill or assist increases Samus attack damage by 12. Stacks up to 20 times. Interesting. So he can continue to up his attack damage based on how many kills and assists he has. It's pretty neat. Next, we're going to go with his first ability, Bloodworm. Samus triggers his inner dragon blood to remove all debuffs and increases his movement speed by 80% for 1.5 seconds. He also enhances his next normal attack, which deals an additional 200 physical damage to nearby targets and reduces their movement speed by 50% for 2.5 seconds. So, removes all debuffs, increases movement speed by 80%, and reduces movement speed by 50%. Also, his next basic attack will do extra damage. So that's a pretty nice first ability. There's a lot of stuff there. Movement speed reduction, and extra damage, and clears them of all debuffs. That's pretty cool. Second ability, Tail Sweep. Samus strikes the ground, dealing some damage to all nearby enemies. If any enemy units are hit, Samus's attack speed will be increased by 40% for 4 seconds. So we see a huge increase in attack speed from that one. And then the ultimate, Dragon's Wrath. Samus strikes the target, dealing a bunch of true damage. Remember that, guys, true damage. Knocking enemies into the air briefly. And for the next 5 seconds, he takes 15% less damage, and his normal attacks deal true damage. Look at that, guys. It starts at 147 true damage straight at level 1 with his ultimate, or level 4 rather. That's pretty insane. That's a lot of true damage, and that's for 5 seconds. All his basic attacks are going to deal true damage, so I would probably build him with some attack speed if I were you guys, for sure, rather than crit. He's going to be nutty when he's doing that, because the cooldown is only 24 seconds. Figure it lasts for 5 seconds, so that's 19 seconds, and you get some cooldown reduction. You could be doing that for a good portion of the time that you're actually in fighting. So, pretty cool. Samus, our first warrior. Our second one is going to be Zephys. Zephys is kind of similar in my mind to him. He's got the double spears, pretty BA looking. He's a warrior assassin. Mobility is his role. He's pretty even keel across the statistics there on the bottom left. He has one skin, it's the Sentinel, which makes him look pretty BA. Let's see, his passive is Unwavering Death. Every 3 HP lost grants 1% damage reduction. So the less health he has, the less damage he takes, which is pretty amazing. Not the greatest passive I've seen yet, but not a horrible one. First ability, Death Rift. Zephys lunges forward, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies along the path. His next normal attack deals physical damage and reduces enemy movement speed by 25%. As far as abilities go, I've actually played a little bit of Zephys. I thought the dash is very, very short, and the damage is inconsequential in my eyes. It starts becoming a little bit better later on, but the reduction of speed of 25% is actually one of the worst reductions of speed in the game that I've seen, so this isn't the greatest ability I've ever seen. The second one's a little bit better, and that's Zephys unleashes a series of rapid attacks, dealing a bunch of damage with each attack to the nearby enemies in front of him. Each hit on an enemy hero restores health. Now that one's a pretty good ability. It kind of looks like Yun Zhao's passive from Mobile Legends, if you guys play that. And he just kind of sticks out a spear and he attacks a bunch of times in a row, and you end up getting you know, quite a bit of damage and some health back from that. Not enough health to be like game changing, but it's still better than nothing. So then we go to his ultimate, Death from Above. Now this move is good. Zephyrs attacks from above, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies in the target area and knocking them into the air for a brief period of time. Enemies hit are inflicted with Thunder Crash debuff and take an additional bit of damage when hit by Zephyrs' normal attacks and his ability. So pretty good ultimate, actually knocks everyone up in the air, and it can actually, it's a pretty decent sized area of effect, so it can hit quite a few people. I see a definite potential in Zephyrs. I haven't really had great games with him so far, but I see some potential with him. Next is Thane, who is also a tank. We've seen him in the tank section. He's got this, he's got the one skin, the Chief Knight, and then he's Tank Warrior. Control Initiator is his role, and he's pretty even keel, minus the difficulty's really low on him. Passive, Royal Power. When his health falls below 30%, he regenerates 24% of his maximum HP over 6 seconds. That's pretty nutty. 24% of his max HP is a lot. And then Valiant Charge, Thane charges forward, knocking enemies back and dealing a bunch of damage with each hit. At the end of his charge, his final hit will also knock enemies into the air. It's actually a pretty great crowd control ability. Thane is essentially like Tigreal from Mobile Legends, or like, there's not really anyone like him in League of Legends that I can think of, but he does a surprising a lot of damage for how tanky he actually is. It's really impressive. Second ability is Avalon's Fury. Thane strikes the ground, dealing a bunch of damage and knocks everyone up into the air. And then when they land, they're slowed by 90% for 2 seconds. Remember, I was talking about that ability of Zephyrs that slows by 25%. This is a 90% slow for two whole seconds. That's insane. It's almost like a stun. And then his ultimate Excalibur, Thane charges for a short time and then unleashes a powerful blow on a frontal comb, dealing a bunch of true damage to enemies in the area. Also deals 15% of targets lost HP as physical damage, and it cannot be interrupted. So it's going to deal a ton of true damage to anyone essentially in front of him. He basically picks up a sword and slaps it down in front of him to a pretty big conal area, and it does a crap ton of damage. Thane is actually a pretty phenomenal hero from what I've seen so far. Very impressed. Next, we have our... And we're going to talk about her in the assassin section, but she's also a warrior, and she has mobility and finisher. This is Butterfly. Butterfly's attack damage, as you can see, is all the way maxed out. Her difficulty is pretty high. I have played quite a bit of Butterfly. I think she's a pretty great hero, but she is definitely somebody you have to be good with. She's got her weaknesses, and if exposed, she could have a really tough game. So we're going to take a look at her skins here. She has two. She has Sailor, which is a nice little sailor outfit, and the sword turns blue. And then she has the Academy, which is a little schoolgirl outfit, and her sword kind of turns fiery orange reddish color. So her first ability, or her passive rather, is Assassin. Every time she gets a kill, it resets the cooldown of all her abilities and restores 12% of her missing health. That's actually one of the best passives that any game could offer. It's phenomenal. First ability, Whirlwind. Butterfly swings her blades in a full arc at nearby enemies, dealing a bunch of damage and reducing the movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds. Then we have Sword Propel. 0 mana cost, and nothing costs mana on Butterfly. Butterfly throws her sword, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies in its path, also increasing her attack speed by 50% for 3 seconds. So you can see the combination of these. You swing in a circle, you deal a bunch of damage and reduce the speed, and then you do this bad boy, and it increases her attack speed by 50%. So her damage is pretty unreal. And then Backstab, her ultimate, really low cooldown. Butterfly blinks behind the enemy with the lowest HP, prioritizing heroes, and stabs the target, dealing a bunch of damage and increasing her damage reduction by 60% and movement speed by 50%. So she gets faster, she takes less damage, and then obviously she attacks faster with her second ability. The combination of her abilities make her very, very, very bursty, but she also has weaknesses in that she doesn't have great escapes, and if she's crowd controlled, she will die. She's very squishy. Next, we're going on to Lubu. Lubu is a warrior with lifesteal as his role. Pretty high on all the stats in the bottom left corner. I think his main skin is really cool, but so is the second skin. Kind of got that little SWAT team look, but he is boss either look he has. Let's take a look. His passive is Martial Master. Reduces Impale's cooldown by 1 second whenever Lubu hits a target with an ability or normal attack. Next is Red Stallion, his first ability. Lubu lunges forward. You can tap him to stop, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies in his path. This ability can be used 3 times in a row, with the third cast knocking enemies into the air. Impale, that's the ability that gets the cooldown reduction lowered. He launches a dark of mass energy into the specified direction, dealing a bunch of damage and reducing enemies' movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds. Pretty nasty. And his ultimate Conquer, Lubu powers up, boosting its attack damage by 80, lifesteal by 120, holy crap. Lifesteal ends up being 189 at level 1, and resistance by 20% for 8 seconds. So it makes him virtually impossible to kill. I have not actually played Lubu, but I'm really excited to try him out, and I think I'm going to do that soon and see what all that lifesteal stuff's about. It looks pretty insane. Alright, next we got Tarah. I have seen Tarah a little bit. She's also in the tank video. She's tank warrior, mobility healer, and she has no skin yet. She's pretty new. Her passive, Fighting Spirit. She gains 2 to 5 attack damage for every 1% of HP lost. It scales with level. So, pretty nutty. If she's missing 50% and it's at the full 5, that's a pretty high amount. So that's 250 extra attack damage. Colossal Smash, her first ability. Tarah leaps into the air, smashes the ground with her hammer, dealing a bunch of damage within the range and slowing their movement speed by 60 for 2 seconds. Her second ability, Whirlwind, Tarah swings her hammer in circles, dealing a good amount of damage twice to each enemy within the range. Her ultimate is Steel Focus. Tarah unleashes her potential, regenerating 8% of HP every second for 5 seconds. That's a total of 40 HP regen, increasing her movement speed by 30%. So she becomes pretty hard to kill at that point in the game. I have played against her a couple times, and she's actually pretty decent from what I've seen so far. So pretty impressed with Tarah. Next, we're rolling with Scud. Scud is Hellboy wannabe. He's also a tank, warrior tank. Mobility controls his role, and you can see his constitution is off the charts, almost max range. He has 1 skin, and that's the linebacker, which kind of gives him a little bit of fiery lava look. We'll take a look at his passive, Anabolic Rage. Every 10 seconds, Scud's next normal attack deals an additional 20% damage. Restores a good amount of health based on 4% of his maximum HP and 80 as a baseline, and 30% or 30 plus 3% of his mana, of his lost mana each time. Each normal attack also reduces the cooldown of this ability by 1 second. So pretty insane actually. He gets a lot of health back, a lot of mana back just by attacking. We're doing basic attacks, so pretty cool. Furious Charge, his first ability. Scud charges in the target direction, dealing a good amount of damage to enemies in his path and knocking them into the air for half a second. Scud stops charging when he runs into an enemy hero, and then Scud also gains 60 armor for 3 seconds. So you see a lot of kind of a theme with Scud is him getting stuff like he gets his first one, he gets health back and mana back. His second one, he gains armor for 3 seconds. Then we get to the third one here, or sorry, the second ability, Power Glove. Scud infuses boiling blood into his glove, increasing attack speed by 20% and movement speed by 10% for 5 seconds. The next normal attack deals extra damage to enemies and reduces their movement speed. So, pretty neat. And last, his ultimate, Wild Beast Fury. Scud charges for a brief period, then spins and hits all nearby enemies with his fist, dealing a bunch of damage. Also deals additional physical damage equal to 15% of the enemy's current HP and resets the cooldown of Furious Charge. Furious Charge, remember, being his first ability. So you kind of want to open a fight up with that because it has 15% of their current HP. So the more health they have, the more damage it deals. So interesting hero Scud is. Next, we're going to take a look at Nack Rock. Now, we took a look at Nack Rock in the assassin section, but we're going to take a look at him now that we're talking about him as a warrior. As you guys can see, his ability damage and difficulty is pretty high up there. He's got 1 skin, the demonic skin, which makes him look pretty VA. I really like this theme they have. A couple other heroes have skins that kind of turn them gold and blue, and they look pretty bad, pretty badass. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at his passive first, which is Dread Judge. Every 4th normal attack knocks a target into the air. Each time an ability hits an enemy, Nack Rock gains 50% attack speed. It's pretty insane. Every 4th attack, knocking people airborne with some attack speed, be pretty insane. Jury Fury, Nack Rock lunges forward and knocks the target into the air like another knockup. Holy cow. Dealing a bunch of damage, the ability can be used again within 5 seconds of first use before triggering the full cooldown. So you're talking about between his, let's just say he knocks somebody up, he's basic attacking, he knocks him up again with his ability, and then he knocks him up a 3rd time with his, or twice more with his passive, he could knock somebody up 4 times in just a few seconds. That's pretty insane. Second ability, Death Sentence. Nack Rock flips backward, and the next normal attack within 3 seconds becomes a horizontal sweep that deals a bunch of damage. And lastly, we have Judgment's Blade. His ultimate, Nack Rock swings his blades against enemies in his range, dealing a bunch of damage to each enemy hit, with the last hit knocking enemies into the air. Oh, he swings his blades repeatedly, and each hit does that much damage, and then the last hit knocks him into the air. Another mother effing knock up. Playing against Guy sounds like it's going to be awful, so I'm ready to see that, and I'm ready to try him out, to be honest with you. And he is immune to control effects during this ability. That's actually a really undervalued part of anyone's kit. Being immune to crowd control effects in a game that's full of crowd control effects is actually phenomenal. So hats off to you, Nack Rock. I can't wait to give you a shot, bro. Next, we are rocking and rolling with the same guy we saw in the assassin tree, which was Batman. Batman is listed as an assassin warrior. His roles are mobility and finisher, and as you can see, his attack damage is off the mother effing charts. And why wouldn't it be? He's the Dark Knight. Alright, so first passive is Cape Crusader. When Batman approaches the enemy hero, his movement speed increases by 20%. So the closer he gets, the faster he moves. First ability, Forearm Strike. Batman attacks with his forearm blades, dealing damage to nearby enemies. One random enemy will take double damage, so that could be pretty nutty. Batarang. Batman launches an explosive batarang, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies and reducing their movement speed. 24% of HP lost will be converted into additional physical damage 3 seconds later. So kind of like a little bit of a bleed effect, kind of like a delayed damage effect, I guess. But 24% of HP lost, so it's pretty nutty. And enemies hit are stunned if attacked by Batman again. That is a very high quality move there, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Next, we're running with his ultimate Dark Knight. Batman conceals himself behind a colony of bats and becomes invisible after 1.5 seconds. Invisibility can last for 30 seconds unless Batman stays within 6 units of an enemy hero for more than 3 seconds. If the ability is used again during invisibility, he will fly towards the target direction, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies in his path. He also gains 50% attack speed for 5 seconds after coming out of invisibility. Batman sounds like he's going to do a lot of damage with his basic attack, so I'm kind of excited to try him out too, although he's pretty expensive. So we'll see what we can do to get him up. Next, we're going to rock and roll with Malock. Malock is also in the tank tree, and his role is that of a finisher. His attack damage, as you can see in the bottom left, is pretty high, pretty legitimate. He has one skin. It is the Dreadworm skin, which makes him look pretty awesome. I love the whole like ice look to the dragon kind of thing. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a Lich King, World of Warcraft Lich King guy of some sort. So here is his passive Plunder. Malock has a longer attack range than other melee units. When his weapon is enchanted, his normal attacks deal 170 true damage instead of physical damage and restore 2% of his lost HP. So he actually regens HP every time he hits somebody when he's got his enchantment going on. Cleave. Malock swings his blade and deals a bunch of damage. If he hits a hero, his weapon becomes enchanted. When his weapon is enchanted, Cleave will deal true damage and recover a bunch of health. So you got 2% here with his Plunder. You got with his passive 6% with his Cleave. So you're talking about getting 8% of your health back. Bam, just like that. For every hero it hits, so he could actually get a bunch of health back. Soul Eater. Malock snatches the souls of surrounding enemies, dealing a small amount of physical damage and reducing their movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. He gains a shield for snatching souls, however, absorbing a crap ton of damage, taking him with 5 souls snatched. That's pretty nasty. I'm assuming with 5 souls snatched that it probably counts minions also, but still pretty insane. And his ultimate, Shock. Malock unleashes a massacre from above at the specified location. He knocks nearby enemies when he lands and knocks them back or up, I can't tell, and deals a bunch of damage. He also reduces movement speed of any enemy that tries to enter or exit his zone. So assuming upon landing, he creates a circle or a square or some sort of shape, and people go in and out. They get a lot of movement speed reduction, so that's pretty interesting. Next, we are going with Cricknack. We also saw Cricknack in the Assassin tree. He is a assassin warrior. His role is mobility, and he's kind of even keel on the bottom left corner. He does have one skin, and it's called Steel, and it kind of turns his, his like wings and stuff into like steel armor. That's pretty cool. All right, we got his passive is Bite. When Crickneck's ability hits an enemy, the next normal attack is enhanced and deals an additional 250 damage. That's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice ability, a passive. Terrifying Plague. Crickneck summons a plague of larvae that deal a bunch of damage and infects the target with Mark of Horror. When Crickneck attacks marked enemies, they take an additional magic damage equal to 10% of maximum HP. The cooldown of this ability is reduced by 3 seconds and restores Crickneck's mana. So I can't tell if that's his max HP or the enemy's max HP, but either way, pretty powerful ability. I'm impressed with this kit. Horn Rush. Crickneck lunges forward with his enormous horns, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies in his path. Every enemy hero hit restores HP back to Crickneck. More healing abilities. And lastly, Drone Drop. Crickneck takes to the skies, specifically increasing his movement speed for a brief period. And when casting this ability while airborne, Crickneck attacks target area and deals a bunch of damage to enemies in the air, reducing their movement speed. Interesting kit, Mr. Crickneck. You are a pretty bad looking bud. Next is a very familiar sight to most of you guys who played any MOBAs before, and that'd be Wukong. He is in League of Legends as Wukong. He is also in Mobile Legends as Sun. He is a warrior assassin, and his roles are mobility and control. He's actually somebody I'm really considering buying. I'm a big fan of. I've only seen him played once in the game, but he's really cool, interesting kit. But let's see. He's got one skin, and it makes him look like a secret agent. It's pretty boss. I actually like the skin a lot. Passive, God of War. Each time Wukong uses an ability, his next normal attack is enhanced and deals a bunch of extra damage. Wukong also tumbles toward the target. Wukong's staff gains 10% critical chance permanently. So, this is how it works, guys. Every time Wukong deals an ability of any kind, he teleports or tumbles to his target, and his next basic attack deals extra damage. That is pretty OP. Also, Wukong's staff, his weapon, grants him 10% critical chance strike permanently. So he starts the game with critical strike chance. Imagine you add that 10% and you throw in some Arcana onto that, and you could be starting off any game with a bunch of crit strike chance, being a pretty amazing hero early game. Shadow Clone. Wukong temporarily disappears and gains 40% movement speed for 1 second. That is good for escaping and engaging. Nice to hear. That's a pretty nice ability. Next is Great Sage. Wukong tumbles toward the specified direction, gaining 100 armor and 100 magic defense for 3 seconds. It's a lot of defense, guys, and it levels up to 200. So at level 6, he'll have 200 extra armor and magic for 3 whole seconds. That's actually a pretty good ability. He looks like, based on his abilities, he's kind of made to survive and do a bunch of crit damage on basic attacks. Last is Monkey Business, his ultimate. Wukong unleashes his inner chi, knocking nearby enemies into the air, dealing a bunch of damage and stunning them for 1 second. That is a hellacious crowd control. I can't wait to see, by trying them out, how big the radius is of that. But if it's big enough, that could be a very overpowered ultimate. So I'm excited to see it. Next, we have Ormar, which we also saw in the tank section, as he's a warrior tank class. His roles are control and mobility, and he's pretty even keel on the bottom left for stats. He has one skin. He goes from looking like a Viking to looking like a Viking, but a totally different look, so it's pretty cool. Next, we have the passive Gut Punch. Each time Ormar deals damage, he has a chance to stun the target and deal physical damage equal to 9 to 15%. Scales of the target's current HP, and it scales with hero level. That's pretty good. It's only a 4% or 4-second internal cooldown. His first ability is Unstoppable. Ormar dashes forward and enhances his next normal attack to deal damage and knock the target into the air. So more crowd control. Swagger. Ormar bashes the ground with his hammer, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies within range and reducing the movement speed by 50% for 1 second. Each cast that hits one or more targets grants Ormar a stack of fighting spirit. After reaching 3 stacks, the next attack will trigger Gut Punch. That's cool. It triggers it automatically, which is pretty nice. Lastly, his ultimate, Walking Tall. Ormar swings his hammer in a circle, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies within range on each hit. So it looks like he's just going to keep spinning and spinning and spinning, and each spin deals new damage. That's Ormar for you. And last, but certainly not least, the very lovable, very murdersome warrior assassin, Zuka, the panda. So he's a warrior assassin, as you heard me say. His role is mobility. His attack damage and difficulty level are off the charts, phenomenally high, guys. This is somebody I'm really looking at buying because I love difficult heroes. I love to master them. And he's got one skin, and that's the Bodhi skin. Kind of makes him look like a Kung Fu master. Pretty cool. But let's see. His passive, the Chi. Every 20 seconds, dealing damage to an enemy hero triggers Zuka's Chi, increasing his attack damage by up to 20% for the next 8 seconds. That's a lot. It's a very high amount. Zuka raises his bamboo staff and charges forward, dealing a bunch of physical damage to nearby enemies. This ability can be used within 5 seconds of the first use. In each use enhances Zuka's next normal attack, increasing its range and dealing additional damage. That's called Panda Stick. It's its first ability. Second ability, Panda Chariot. Zuka rolls forward, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies along the way. On a successful hit, Zuka grants a shield that absorbs a pretty good amount of damage for 2.5 seconds and enhances his next normal attack to deal additional damage, and send enemies flying for 3/4 of a second, or 0.75 seconds. So to me it reads pretty clearly that Zuka's going to do a lot of damage via his basic attacks. A lot of these just enhance his basic attacks to make him even more powerful. Next we've got Skyfall. His ultimate, Zuka leaps up and crushes enemies from above, dealing a whole bunch of damage to enemies in a target area and stunning them for 1 second. It also enhances his next normal attack to deal an additional damage again to nearby enemies. So he has a lot of stuff that buffs his normal attacks, so it makes me think he's going to have some nasty attack damage. Obviously his attack damage is almost maxed out, so that seems to prove to be true. Now I'm really excited to buy Zuka, and that might actually be the first big hero I buy with gold. You see, I've got 18,856. I'm currently 32 gold short, so I might have to go play a quick game, and I'll have to try Zuka out with the hero trial card in the bottom right and give him a shot. Remember guys, if you guys want to try any of the heroes out, you hit that hero trial card, you guys can actually try the hero in a game against computers for free. Pretty amazing. Not a lot of games give you that ability, but that is Zuka, and that is our final warrior for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys thought about all the warriors. Which one is your favorite? Which one are you excited about trying? Let me know what you guys thought about the video and how you guys are enjoying the Strike of Kings content that we just started producing. We really appreciate all the support and love, guys. If you guys would share the videos, that would be amazing. But thanks for watching, guys, and as always, until next time.